themselves today had they not been so busy being the responsible, active, and cooperative citizens of an extremely efficiently run country. Numerous factors have played a part in the formation of this unique republic: the people themselves, the geography, and the influence of outside powers. Switzerland evolved naturally within its own borders and continues to forge ahead on its own terms on the European continent. This is not to say that it is immune to the political currents tugging at Europe today, but it implies both a history and a positioning in the world that is founded on a certain mistrust of its neighbours. The common ground that brings the Swiss together as a people is not always clear. The paradox of Swiss identity may be best described in the saying, unity but not uniformity. For all its diversity, Switzerland is perhaps the most stable democracy in the world today. Climate. The climate is extremely varied. Switzerland lies at the point of intersection of the main climatic regions of Europe: the Oceanic, the Northern European, the Mediterranean, and the continental. Ascona, in the canton of Ticino, lies at the lowest point of the country at 643 feet above sea level. The climate here is much like the Mediterranean. There are even palm trees. An Arctic climate is found at the country's highest point, the Dufour Peak, which is 15,199 feet high. One would have to travel only 43 miles as the crow flies to cover the distance between these two extremes. To visitors, the country's most famous mountain and one of the highest in the Alps would probably be the Matterhorn. It's situated in the south, in the canton of Valais, which is a dry, mountainous region. However, if one were to travel into the valleys of this region, one would find an abundance of apricots, cherries, tomatoes, and grapes. Temperatures in Switzerland are on average about 65 degrees Fahrenheit to 82 degrees Fahrenheit in summer and 28 degrees Fahrenheit to 45 degrees Fahrenheit in winter. The föhn. The föhn, also the German word for hairdryer, is a warm, dry wind that swoops down over the leeward side of the Alps. It can arrive at any time of the year, but occurs most frequently in spring and fall. Recognized by mostly clear skies with a distinct arch of clouds, it brings with it a quick rise in temperature and sudden atmospheric changes. These conditions are said to have an unsettling effect on people, causing headaches and anxiety. The perfect scapegoat, the föhn is said to be blamed by the Swiss for all their problems. In the French-speaking region between the Jura and the Alps, a strong cold wind, known as la bise, can blow from the north, northeast, or east in winter, spring, or fall. In winter, the bise noire contributes to the gloom with rain, snow, or hail. Geographical snapshot. Geographically speaking, Switzerland is divided into three regions: the Jura, the Plateau, and the Alps. The Jura, Celtic for wood, is a limestone mountain range stretching from Lake Geneva to the Rhine and extending into eastern France and southern Germany. This subalpine area makes up about 10% of the country's surface area. On average, it is 2,296 feet above sea level. It is a picturesque highland crossed by river valleys. The rocks first studied here at the end of the 18th century lend their name to the Jurassic geological period. The plateau refers to the region between Lake Geneva and Lake Constance. With an average altitude of 1,902 feet and covering 30% of the country's surface area, it is here that one finds the majority of the population, 2/3, as well as most of the country's industry, traffic, agriculture, and livestock. The Alps extend over the central and southern regions of the country. These are probably the physical feature most closely associated with Swiss identity by foreign travellers. They span about 125 miles at an average altitude of 5,576 feet and cover almost 2/3 of the country's total surface area. Only 11% of the population live in the mountains, but 60% of tourism is concentrated in the Alps and their foothills. The Rhône, Upper Rhine, Reuss, and Ticino rivers divide the mountain ranges. The country as a whole boasts no fewer than 1,500 lakes, the largest of which are Lakes Geneva, Constance, Neuchâtel, Lucerne, Maggiore, and Zurich. It is the source of 6% of Europe's freshwater supply. Switzerland has practically no natural resources. It has one of the lowest percentages of land under cultivation in Western Europe, and overall the number of farms is dropping. Large farms, however, are on the increase. 3% of the working population are employed in agriculture, and about 40% of the food is imported.